Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Friday Night Young at Heart, featuring nursery rhymes, stories, songs, poems, Mother Goose, Aesop's fables, Lewis Carroll, limericks, larks, epic stories of the great operas, and such. Do keep us all young at heart. I'm Father James DiLuzio, continuing with the saga L'Avventure di Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. And if you don't know Italian, that means The Adventures of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. So tonight, chapters 20, 21, and 22. Okay, you may recall, do you? Pinocchio finally got out of prison after 4 months by identifying himself as a rogue, who were all released for some great celebration that was happening in that town of terribly decrepit and abused pets. All the same, he is free, and he's so happy, and he is resolved to return to the home of the Blue Fairy. Hopefully his father is waiting for him. He looks forward to a great reunion, and he is filled with remorse. If only I had been an obedient boy. If I had listened to the wisdom of my elders. If only I had paid attention and been more wise had I gone to school. But I did not, but I resolve that from now on I will be good. I will make the right choices. I will listen to my father. I will listen to the good fairy. Oh, and how she was so forgiving of me. And I'm really undeserving. And the rain begins to pour down, and Pinocchio, as he's making his way on the path, is drenched. Waterlogged he becomes, indeed, and the road is just thick with mud. And lo and behold, who should he suddenly encounter but a large, huge, venomous snake. And this was not an ordinary snake. It was a snake with dragon-like features, and whose long head and sharp teeth and long tail emitted smoke, fire, out of his tail and out of his mouth. Pinocchio was terrified, and he pulls away as far as he can, only to be dismayed that the snake is coiled at the entire length of the road, and he's going to have to jump over it or pass it somehow in order to get home to the Blue Fairy's house. In great distress, he decides finally to approach the beast, and he uses all kinds of gentle, kind talk, soft-spoken, pleading, filled with compliments for the snake. But the snake refuses to answer and just stares and steams at him. After a while, it seems as if the snake has fallen asleep, so he tiptoes as close as he can and getting ready to jump, and suddenly the snake opens its eyes and jumps out Pinocchio, who jumps back and in his fright, and he tumbles over, and his head goes smack into the mud, and all that the snake can see is Pinocchio's torso and his legs waving back and forth. He's stuck in the mud. You've heard that phrase, correct? Stuck in the mud. Well, there were two possibilities. Which do you think Collodi offers us? Well, in this case, he offers us the more positive one. The snake finds so much humor in seeing Pinocchio's legs waving back and forth. He begins to laugh and laugh and laugh so hard that he cannot stop, and he just bursts open. Well, with that, eventually, Pinocchio was able to right himself, and he begins running home as fast as he can go. Now, in the next chapter, he's getting hungry. It's a long way back to the home of the Blue Fairy, and he's also having doubts. Did his father make it? It's been such a long time. Where could his father be? And again, he feels that all that remorse but he's also very hungry. So he comes to a field of grapes. And he said, well, just a few grapes. And he goes to take them. But there was a trap, because these grape arbors were in the part of a farm that had large chicken coops. And these martens, weasel-like creatures, martens, M-A-R-T-E-N-S, not to be confused with the birds, M-A-R-T-I-N-S, don't do it, come and been taking the chickens and stealing the eggs. So there was a trap, an iron clasp with sharp iron teeth. So when Pinocchio goes to get the grapes, he steps onto the trap and it clasps his legs so hard it pierces into the wood of his legs, and he cries out, and a swallow comes by and says, what's the matter? And he says, well, I just was so hungry, I wanted some grapes. Are these your grapes? Asked the swallow. Is this your grape arbor? Is this your plot of land? No, said Pinocchio, but I was hungry. Hunger does not warrant thievery, said the swallow. And she flies off so that Pinocchio will have his just deserts. And then, of course, the owner of the arbor comes and he sees it's not a marten in his trap, but this wooden puppet. I'm going to fix you, he says, and he does unlock the trap. So Pinocchio is no longer suffering there, but he carries him by the neck and throws him into his doghouse. Apparently his dog had just died, and the dog was the one who warned him about the martens coming. So that the doghouse is right next to the chicken coop, and he says, for your punishment, you are going to be the dog. And if you see these martens, you are to bow, wow, wow, as loud as you can. And then the owner goes back into his house to go to bed. And who should come but the martens? Now, the martens are very clever little creatures, and they approach the doghouse, and they're shocked to see why the dog is not there. Well, had I told you, the poor dog had died that very morning. So this owner needed another watchman, and they're very inquisitive to see a puppet, talking puppet at that. They say, well, listen, we had a deal with the dog. He pretends to go to sleep. We go get a couple hens and some eggs, and we always save a hen for him. But he doesn't tell his master. And he just says that we came sight unseen. So we'd like you to do the same. Well, Pinocchio has been doing a lot of self-scrutiny about the kind of things he's done and resolved not to do. So he just silent about it. And then when the martens think he's going to follow the plan and go into the chicken coop, Pinocchio locks the gate and bow-wows as loud as he could. The owner comes out, and lo and behold, he takes the martens and puts them in a sack and is going to sell them or give them to the innkeeper down in the village, who will skin them alive, and then, well, maybe not skin them alive, who will kill them, skin them, and then use them for pelts, their skin for pelts. So a good day or night was had by all, but our farmer is very grateful to Pinocchio and sends him on his way. And as he goes on his way, he's resolved to do things well this time and follow everything. And he's wondered, will they forgive him again? And who is not in need of forgiveness? So thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a beautiful night. Sleep well. God bless. Good night.